Okay, so I ran out of data. I forgot. I didn't know. I thought I had an active data. I realized that I ran out of data. So I stopped at when somebody says that a Christian genocide is going on in Nigeria, you need to ask him or her, and then you realize how this pack of lies would collapse. Where? So I say, well, I noticed, however, I don't know. I noticed that Trump didn't use the word genocide. I doubt. I saw a couple of his tweets. He said mass killing. But it's gonna, because of course probably it's a bit sensible than some of the bigots we have here, because it's gonna be difficult for you to establish genocide, right? So when somebody, as I was saying, someone says there's a genocide in Nigeria, ask them where. Southwest? No. Southeast, where they're the majority, where those responsible for killing Christians are actually Biafran separatists, right? They're going to say no. So where is it happening? So there's going to be, oh, it's in Benue. So right, if it's in Benue, right, if it's in the Middle Belt, if it's in Jigawa, why is it the case that it is Biafran separatists who are at the helms of propagating this genocide? You ask yourself. I've seen him in Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB. I've seen him say that he's a Jew. So this stupid declaration that he does. So if he is a Jew, why is he concerned? If he's embraced Judaism, for instance, why is he concerned about Christians being a so-called Christian genocide? So you ask them, they're going to say, okay, it's in the Middle Belt, this where this is happening. And of course, as I said, yes, it has religious undertones, right? But it's majorly a herder farmer crisis that's happening there. There has been government failure. That this is the blunt truth, right? There's been government failure in the way some of these activities were handled. I do not understand how Boko Haram could acquire so much weapons and training right under the nose of the Department of State Security. That's like our CIA or FBI here. And they had this access to all of this, carried out assassinations before they could realize what was going on. And then also there was incompetence, particularly during the regime of during the tenure of Goodluck Jonathan, where Boko Haram was in control of territories. In all of these territories, they were pushed back under the tenure of the late Muhammad Buhari, because this guy's Buhari was a no-nonsense person. They attempted to kill him too. Like, you guys, they don't hold territory now, and that's why it's surprising. This, when they were actively actually killing Christians and Muslims, or setting bombs in car parks, as they did in Abuja, right? There was no discussion about the Christian genocide. It is now they don't hold any ground, they don't hold any territory, right? That we are having these calls for of a Christian genocide. As I said, it's the politics. But people who are Biafrans who lost the election feel that they are marginalized, and they want to use every opportunity to bring down the government. This is the plain truth. Of course, some of those in power now, right, under Goodluck Jonathan, took him to task by saying that he was not doing sufficiently enough for the security of the nation. And then, yeah, it's fine. If somebody like Peter Obi can come out and say that, yeah, you guys are not doing something good for the nation, it's understandable, right? It is the way politicians will criticize themselves. Or if he says that, yeah, you're not doing sufficient for the farmers of the Middle Belt, or for the Christians of the Middle Belt, these are acceptable government criticisms. But when you propagate a Christian genocide that is non-existent, and then you actively say that the US should come invade Nigeria, something that I believe that, as daft as Donald Trump is, he would not even try to do that. I'm going to talk about this also in a little while. So this is actually what is going on. We have this crisis in the Middle Belt. We have banditry all around, and then you have bigots. I mean, this is not saying that there's a Christian genocide is not restricted to Biafran separatists alone. We have people who have suffered, right, which is legitimate in the north and in the north central. We have people who are also tied to the evangelicals in the US. There was, because I follow up with Christian apologetics. It's part of what I have interest in. And there was a particular event that happened in a majorly Muslim area And then I saw the report on a Christian site. This site is affiliated to the well-known Christian apologist. I don't know. I don't think it's officially affiliated to him, William Lane Craig. Wintry Night or so, if I remember very well. And he reported this case as a case of Muslims attacking Christians. You can't make this up. So this is, so you have evangelicals who are tied to this, particularly given that a lot of Pentecostal Christians during the last election felt that they didn't want a Muslim ticket. The current president is a Muslim from the Southwest. I mean, Southwest Muslims are unbelievably liberal. That's the type of president that's the type of Muslim our president is. And then a Muslim from the Northeast. Plainly politics, because you will need to win a substantial section of other regions of Nigeria, which unfortunately, Biafran separatists are not taken into consideration. You cannot fight the entire country. And I mean, and of course, as I said, we should not generalize. It's not all Igbos who are like this. There are Igbos. I saw a Facebook page and I was very impressed. There was a lady blessing something. He was exposing the atrocities of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and their so-called Eastern Security Network. She was exposing this, and at the expense of her personal safety, because these guys are known to go after people like this and kill them, right? So we should not be stupid like these people are and generalize and say, oh, all Igbos. Not all Igbos, but a substantial population, a substantial percentage of them are not satisfied with the current political dispensation and are hiding under Christian genocidal claims to state this. And of course, you have bigots in the Southwest, but of course, majority in the Southwest is not going to buy this because, of course, the Southwest, the present president is from the Southwest. So you see, Nigeria is a complex place, right? And Donald Trump will be very stupid to put U.S. boots in Nigeria. I'll talk about this also. So when you say a genocide, right? So a genocide here is defined as the deliberate and systematic destruction of a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group, right? So if this is academically defined. Now, one of the points I'm also going to go through is when Muslims engage with people who say this, I saw all of these influencers on Facebook, and I don't want to mention his name. And then these guys go around. They don't say there's problems in the north or in the north central, or there's problem of banditry or Boko Haram. They generalize. All Muslims are responsible. All Muslims are evil. And some of them would even cite the Quran and say, oh, look at what the Quran says, and look at what is in the Sunnah, and things like that, which is a very rather un-Christian thing to do. Why do you need to lie to pass your message across? Why do you refuse to listen to the thousands? I don't think there has been a blasphemy killing that I have not condemned, not because we do not have blasphemy laws in Nigeria, both in the Southwest. Some people do not understand this. In the Nigerian criminal code, we have laws against blasphemy, right? And then you have in the penal code in the North, right? But because I condemn this because it is mob justice. And no religion allows the killing of people based on false accusations that are usually unproven. We've had instances whereby a person would mishandle a book that is written in Arabic and somebody says it's the Quran, and lo and behold, if you are not careful, you are dead. But the problem with blasphemy law in Nigeria is just like the one in Pakistan. We have parallels. I mean, there was a lady in Pakistan who wore a clothing that had Arabic writings, and then she was almost lynched. It's the same stupidity you have in Nigeria here. If somebody is accused of blasphemy, right? Let the person go to court. The law is that it's not for you to go around and kill sometimes innocent people. A Muslim was killed in Niger as I said, some months ago. A Muslim, false accusation of blasphemy. The next thing is Kisheshi. Let him be killed. I don't know if I got the answer correct. So we have these problems that are being discussed by Northerners themselves, Hausas themselves, saying that no, this thing is not proper, right? So these individuals are bigoted. And how do you know? So look, let's talk about Gaza a bit. And Gaza, the Palestinians would show you that these people are not only ethno-religious bigots, they are also daft. And I'll explain. You see, Gaza is a place whereby you have a consensus. outside the the American racist far right, you have almost a consensus saying that a genocide is going on in Gaza. The International Association of Genocide Scholars, independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory, we have Jewish scholars of genocide saying that what is going on in Gaza is a genocide. Ask your average Nigerian bigoted Christian or IPOB separatist. Ask him, do you condemn the genocide in Gaza? He is not going to condemn it, because it is not about any legitimate thing. It's about an irrational hatred of Muslims. This and why am I saying this? Before I go to why am I saying this? These idiots do not know or are so stupid to realize that Christian Arabs are being killed in Gaza. We've seen Christians come out to talk about their church. The Catholic Church had to come out with a pronouncement when a particular church was targeted. People were targeted right there outside the mosque. And the Pope had to come out and talk about this, right? And the assumption of some of these idiots is that Israel is a Christian state. This is just plain stupidity. We don't have the sort of Christian Zionism that is strong in the US here. It is not Christian Zionism. It's just stupidity and bigotry. Right. So, why have you condemned the genocide in Gaza? The International Court of Justice. You have the UN, South Africa. You have Christian commentators like Candace Owens, who is committed to our Christian faith. You have Tucker Carlson, who is committed to his Christian faith, coming out to say that what is in Gaza is a genocide. Norman Finkelstein and all of these people who are non-Muslims coming out. So have you condemned the genocide in Gaza? So for these people, it's not about anything. It's this guy on YouTube that does these stupid videos also saying that Muslims are responsible for everyone. These are people. These are Boko Haram light individuals. They want to do exactly what Boko Haram does, annihilate the Muslims in Nigeria, annihilate Christians who are moderates with them, but they lack the courage and barbarism of Boko Haram. And we should not appease people like this. People like this are not supposed to be appeased. As I said, we should not generalize. We should be able to discern from a Christian who is concerned and wants to know what is going on, and somebody who wants you dead. And this individual, you treat them like the enemies they have. If they had the opportunity, they will have you killed. Right? So I go to the page of these people and see Muslims coming to appeal to them. Oh, Islam is a religion of peace. Oh, not all Muslims. We don't need to argue with these individuals. We need to look at them in the eye and tell them, so what on earth are you going to do about it? Right? In areas where you are the majority population, of course, you can have your say. But in areas where you're not in the majority or you're feeling Muslims, how do you think you're going to go about your hatred of Muslims? Right? So basically, ask them, do they condemn? I mean, Gaza is almost universally declared genocide, except for bigots in Nigeria and then criminals in Dufta, criminals in India. These are the two populations that I see. Far-right people in Europe and America, the Induta thugs, and then bigots in Nigeria. These are the three groups that would go ahead on social media defending the atrocities that happen in Gaza. So having said this, what would Trump do? This is somebody who has been inconsistent. He had a meeting with the Chinese leader some days ago. This was China. They was always after threatening and going to put down big tariffs on you and stuff like this. Ultimately, he's going to dance. He danced, and then something threatened them, North Korea. Ultimately, he had a meeting with him. Threatened Russia, had a meeting with Putin and stuff like this. So the man is unpredictable. We don't know what he can do. But one thing he would not do, which would be very, very stupid of him, is to put Putin in Nigeria. Let me say, if the United States wants to come assist us in combating bandits, terrorists, I 110% support, in as much as they are collaborating with the Nigerian government, right? That is supported because they have expertise, they have technology that we may need. We need to be able to govern our skies with drones and surveillance aircraft so as to know where the bandits are and then take them out in precision strikes and so also rescue. So this is highly welcomed, right? So we should be very, very objective about this. So, but to think that you will invade Nigerian sovereignty and then come and put a base here, that will not work, right? It's not that I mean, Nigeria is not that military power. Of course, in West Africa, we are the major power, but we are not manufacturing a lot of our own weapons. We don't have that power to push back against B-52s, bombers, F-35s that the Americans have. So it's a given. Yes, sir. We agree with that. But American presence on Nigerian soil would not last. We will not substitute the colonialism of the British that our fathers fought to remove from our lands and replace it with Yankees in 2025. This will not happen. And if it happens, for people, I've seen stupid people say that the US should come and as Biafra is going to give them logistic and support. The Americans would go the same way they left Afghanistan, the same way they left Iraq, the same way they are going to leave Syria. They would go, and it's still going to be Nigerians for Nigerians. So you are actually very stupid if you feel that the Americans are going to come out. Worst thing the guy is going to do, probably order some airstrikes and then, or probably have a deal with the president or any of these stupid options. Nigeria will not be invaded. And then if they want to talk about invasion, where do you think they want to go? Are they going to come occupy Port Harcourt, as they are saying, or Lagos? Or where do you think they're going to go? So it's a stupid thing, right? And then there is this issue where people say that Muslims do not condemn this attack. My brother, you're a liar. As I said, I personally have condemned any of these attacks. I did some weeks ago about blasphemy laws and how it's being misinterpreted and misused, right? I don't think there's, I was so much against Boko Haram that I felt that if they come to the Southwest, I would have to leave because I was very vehement against people who had that ideology. And then we say, okay, why are Muslims not complaining when Boko Haram was killing them? Why did they complain now? These are stupid things that I don't know why people would even listen to individual studies. Why did Boko Haram come to Kano to come kill Sanusi Lamido Sanusi? Why did they kill? Because Muslims condemned them. We're not cowards, right? You're not cowards. The only thing giving you guys a chance is the ubiquitous internet and the fact that you're faceless. And I think the DSS should critically look at some of these things. I mean, stop going after Muslims and calling and giving us stupid phone calls. Call these individuals also. Boso Emmanuel, who some years ago was calling very clearly for Muslims to be, it was rabble-rousing. What happened to him? Did the DSS call him? But if an imam comes out, it's the DSS start coming, giving you stupid phone calls and trying to monitor what you're saying and things like this. So please, just make sure the responsibility of the Nigerian security forces is to guarantee the peace and safety of every Nigerian. So all these criminals on online saying these things, better be monitoring them. Don't waste your time monitoring my page. So they say, okay, all this while, why are Christians being the only ones? Okay, number one, why are Muslims being the only one terrorists? You are daft. Netanyahu invoked the Bible when he was going to genocide Gaza. He invoked the Bible saying that the Palestinians are Amalekites. Muslims did not say, oh, look, this is a Christian terrorist, this is a Jewish terrorist. He invoked the Bible, right? This is, the most publicized genocide was carried out by someone who invoked the Bible. But Muslims are not that. We're not going to say, oh, that makes every Christian, that makes the Bible an evil book, like some of you guys say. Secondly, so why is it that Muslims are producing Boko Haram, producing terrorists? Again, you are daft. We had the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda, led by Joseph Kony, who killed people. They did everything Boko Haram did. Every single thing Boko Haram did. They did mass killings of people, child soldiers, sexual slavery, every single thing that Boko Haram did, they did, and more. On what basis? They want to establish the 10 commandments in Uganda. And they are not taken out. They've depleted both their resources, their material and human resources, but they are still operating in the bushes and jungle of the Central African Republic. So those what's it called? does the Lord Republican or Resistance Army, do they make all Christian terrorists and evil? No. Any a person that says that is daft, just as a person who says that all Muslims, wherever, are responsible for Boko Haram. So first of all, globally, why are Muslims responsible for terrorism? How many Muslims have suffered the most with the war on terror? I look at the list, just conservative figures in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Pakistan, in Yemen, in Syria, in Libya. How many Muslims have died by the bombs of the US? That they felt that they were going to deal with the Muslims, at times motivated by Christian evangelism, like George W. Bush Jr. and Tony Blair. They had prayers when they were going to launch the invasion of Iraq. So Muslims have been the ones, and this is the funny thing, and that's why I say no Muslims should be apologetic about this. We've suffered the brunt of these killings, and yet we are still to blame. But look, وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. Irrespective of what they do, we're not going anywhere. I mean, Muslims are millions in Nigeria. There's nothing you can do to us. Yeah, you may kill some of us, may give some of us better problems, but we're not going anywhere. You will be forced to live with us, man. So finally on this note, I think that the president should deal with this issue in the best way. We should not appease an idiot. At the same time, we must take cognizance of the reality on ground. If the US wants to support us, give us drones, even they can give us some of their soldiers, joint patrols with Nigerian army, joint operations. And we support that. Anything that will bring it back. More so, I read yesterday that Al-Qaeda or ISIS affiliated organizations were going to overrun Bamako in Mali. And if this happens, the entire Sahel becomes open again to free flow of weapons. Boko Haram becomes more emboldened. The US assist us in doing that. So Donald Trump wasting his life and his and American credibility on Twitter, on Truth Social, whatever the man calls it. So don't be assist us in doing that, so that we don't have these problems we have. Not make threats and calling Nigeria a disgraced nation. No, we are not disgraced. Right? Probably the Americans are the ones disgracing themselves with this stupidity now. So Muslims should not apologize for a crime we've not committed, but we should also be open to explain what's actually going on in Nigeria, and we should also be ready to defend our faith at all times. We should look for alliance with moderate Christians who understand what is going on, and then even moderate people from the East who understand that this is far beyond anything Christian. It's it resists bigoted extreme ideology that wants to take control of the narrative of real human suffering in Nigeria and use it to impose their will on us. It will not be accepted. Have a nice day.